Good afternoon and welcome back to our live sessions from the National Harbor at the 2021 Fall Meeting, hosted by the National Defense Transportation Association and U.S. Transportation Command. Thanks for joining us. I'm Captain John Perkins, and I'm joined here by the Deputy Commander of Air Mobility Command, Lieutenant General Brian Robertson. Sir, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Absolutely excited to be here.
Well, sir, just kind of want to know, what are your initial impressions of how the fall meeting is going?
So far, it's been going great, actually. My first time doing it here at National Harbor. I've always done it at the Union Station in St. Louis, so it's a phenomenally better venue, I think, here. But it's been great. General Van Ovest's inaugural speech to the NDTA was awesome this morning, so I'm having a good time. A lot of thought-provoking ideas already just in the first day and a half.
Well, now, sir, in General Van Ovest's address, there were two videos, and I saw a lot of assets that were from Air Mobility Command. For those of our audience that may not know what the Air Mobility Command does, or AMC, kind of the aviation side of the transportation enterprise does, can you kind of give us a little bit about what you do at AMC?
Sure. Air Mobility Command is the air component arm for a component to TRANSCOM, so we're the most responsive of the three components in terms of flexibility and agility. So we have 5 core missions: air refueling, air lift, air medical evacuation, global air mobility support, and command and control. And through all of those, we are able to project the nation's power, project the force where it needs to be and when it needs to be there really, really, really fast. So we're the first out of the chocks with supporting either the Air Force with global power missions and or alert forces that need to deploy immediately.
And, sir, I think a lot of people may not realize, but in August, the military conducted the largest airlift in our history. A lot of those assets, the critical role, actually were AMC aircraft. If you give us a little bit about how are the role, your airmen, the air crew, the various people, whether it was in Kabul or moving aircrafts into Ramstein, et cetera. If you kind of give us a little bit, some highlights of that, sir. Sure,
absolutely. Yeah, we had a lot of aircraft, but I'll tell you what, the success of that operation really came down to the airmen, the people. Every person at the line level, and I mean mechanic, maintenance officer, maintenance personnel, every AFSC that specialty code that Air Mobility Command has at its disposal was instrumental in making that a success. Security forces, airport, obviously air crew, command and control, the CR, contingency response forces, all of them. So a lot of, in the end, it was about moving people via air, but what it took to secure HKIA, the international airport, to be able to do that, we projected power to bring 5,000 troops in to provide additional security to the airfield so we could say at the right level of risk, evacuate all those personnel, the 124,000. Some of the innovations we saw, our air medical evacuation teams had to adapt and improvise in stride there. With 400 or so passengers on every aircraft and a variety of states of health. We had some children born. We had some people go into non-responsive states. So an air medical evacuation team, for example, normally travels with about a team of 4 or 5 doctors and nurses to provide focused care on a particular patient with a known status. And we actually wound up having to break that team into what we call medic teams, 1 or 2 medics per aircraft, just to be there to attend to any unforeseen circumstances that appeared. We didn't get every aircraft covered, but we did over 60 missions in that way. Wow. But we adapted in the midst of, and still met our requirements for the air medical evacuation when the nation's calling came for that, obviously, after the suicide bombing at Abbey Gate. Our defenders, security forces, we have a specialty certification called Ravens. We had to really ramp those folks up, provide additional security on board the aircraft and for the aircraft while they're on the ground. So amazing work, and absolutely supervisors, first-line supervisors on the ground, aircraft commanders, mission commanders got the mission done, understanding the commander's intent and what was at stake for the nation, and really just did it because they were empowered and trusted by AMC senior leadership to get it done.
Well, sir, I think a lot of people tend to focus on the aircraft or the platforms, whether it's in the Navy and the ships and the Air Force with the C-17s that did a lot of the heavy lifting out of Kabul. But it really comes down to the people. So I just kind of, what do you think sets the airmen apart that make up the AMC?
I don't think anything sets us apart from any other airmen or any service member of the United States. We understand why what we signed up for and what we're there to do. We're adaptive, innovative, and we get after it just like anyone else. I think one thing that does make Air Mobility Command unique in the terms of the people aspect is our total force aspect. So we're, I would say, heavily reliant on the Guard and Reserve component, as well as the Civil Reserve Air Fleet, which TRANSCOM likes to call its fourth component, and all the same venues and same specialties from that perspective. So what was phenomenal was the reserve component, and all the specialties that they have, just like we have, on the active side, stepped up in spades, volunteered aircraft, airmen, linguists, right? We needed linguists, people that had been understood Farsi and the native language. Just across the board, they stepped up and volunteered with capability and capacity to assist us.
Well, sir, I want to thank you for your joining us today, and thank you for your time.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
As we wrap up the second day of the fall meeting, I want to remind everyone tomorrow at 8, we'll be talking to Major General Corey Martin. He is the Director of Operations for U.S. Transportation Command. And as always, you can follow U.S. Transportation Command on Facebook, Twitter, and where am I going? Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, excuse me. Wow, I'm forgetting our social media. So please follow us on those 3, and next time we'll do a better job of remembering those. And tune in tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Corey Martin's a rock star.
Oh.